Signs of the righteous ulama or Islamic scholars. Imam Ghazali, may Allah mercy on him, writes, an alim who is enamored of the world is meaner and lower in spiritual status than an ignorant person. He will be punished in the hereafter more severely. Successful indeed are the ulama who have been favored with nearness to Allah Ta'ala and who are ever concerned about the hereafter. There are certain distinguishing signs of such ulama. The first and foremost, a true alim or Islamic scholar is one who does not try to acquire wealth through his learning. The lowest of rank among the ulama is one who is fully aware that this material world is despicable, mean, polluted and evanescent, and that the life hereafter is vast, everlasting and glorious beyond imagination, the boundaries whereof are absolutely pure. Besides, every true alim is fully aware that this world and the hereafter are opposites. So their example is like two co-wives, when one is pleased, then other become displeased, or like two scales of a scale, if one goes up, then other goes down. Indeed, the present world and the world hereafter are poles apart. They are like two wives of a person. If you seek to get closer to one, it will be at the expense of the other. And he has not a sane mind who does not realize that this material world has low value and is impure, the pleasures whereof are gained at the cost of hardships in this world and in the hereafter. It is a common experience that all worldly joys involve taking pains in this world and unavoidable sufferings in the hereafter. How can a person of such insane mind become an alim? Furthermore, a person who has no idea of the magnificence of the hereafter and its everlastingness is not a true believer. How can such a one become an alim? If a person does not realize that this world and the next have opposing interests and wishes to combine both, he is trying to do something which is undesirable. Such people are in fact ignorant of the code of life of all the Anbiya, means prophets of Allah Ta'ala. And if a person knows all these facts and still gives preference to his worldly interests, he is a slave of shaitan, ruined by lust and facing an evil fate. Obviously, such a lost soul cannot be counted among the ulama divines. Hazrat Daud, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, relates that Allah Ta'ala says, if an alim or Islamic scholar prefers worldly desires over my love, the least I do to him is that I deprive him of the bliss of having communion with me. He cannot experience the sublime joys inherent in the remembrance or zikr of Allah Ta'ala and in invocations to him. O Dawood, have no regard for an alim who has been intoxicated by his lust for this material world, for he would lead you astray from my love. Such people are in reality deceitful plunderers. O David, whoever I see as a seeker of mine, I record him as a sharp-witted, and I never punish him to whom I bestow this title. Imam Yahya bin Muaz, may Allah mercy on him, said, when the world is called upon by religious knowledge and wisdom, its light disappears. Sa'id bin Musa'ib, may Allah mercy on him, said, if you see a scholar sitting in the court of a rich man, you will consider him as a thief. Hazrat Umar, may Allah please with him, said, if you see a scholar who loves the world, you will consider him as a liar about religion, because whoever loves what he enters there. Someone asked a pious person, can anyone who takes pleasure in sinful deeds become an arif, a pious being with intimate knowledge of his Lord? The pious person replied, I can say without hesitation that no one who prefers this world to the next can be an arif. Relishing sins is a far greater evil. It should also be borne in mind that no alim can be regarded as one concerned about the hereafter merely for his rejection of worldly wealth, unless he also has no ambition for worldly honor or status, for these ambitions are more harmful to the soul than the lust for wealth. The second distinguishing characteristics of a true alim is that there should be no contradiction between his knowledge and his practice of religion. That is to say, he should of necessity practice what he preaches to others. Allah Ta'ala says, أَتَأْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبِرِّ وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ تَتْلُونَ الْكِتَابَ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Do you enjoin righteousness upon mankind while you yourself forget to practice it and you recite the scriptures? Surah Al-Baqarah verse 44. And in another context, Kabura Maktan in the Wahi an taqulu ma la taf'alun. It is most hateful in the sight of Allah that you say what you practice not. As-Saf verse 3. Hatam Asam, may Allah mercy on him, says, on the day of resurrection none will be more grieved than an alim who imparted knowledge to others, which they acted upon and were granted eternal success, while himself did not act upon his knowledge and therefore failed miserably. Ibn Simak, may Allah mercy on him, says, there are many who enjoin zikr, remembrance of Allah, upon others but do not remember him themselves. They admonish others to fear Allah, but they themselves disobey him most audaciously. They persuade others to cultivate proximity with Allah, but are remote from him themselves. They invite others unto Allah, but themselves flee from him. Abdul Rahman ibn Ghanam, may Allah mercy on him, says that 10 Sahaba radiallahu anhum related to him the hadith. We were once sitting in the Masjid al-Quba and learning religious knowledge when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came and said to us, acquire as much knowledge as you will, but Allah Ta'ala will not reward you unless you act upon what you know. The third distinguishing characteristics of a true alim is that he is always concerned with such branches of knowledge as are beneficial for the hereafter and which exhort one to perform good deeds. His least interest in that branch of knowledge which has little or no use for the akhirah. The fact is that it is unwise to regard this as true knowledge or learning. It is sheer ignorance to regard oneself as an alim simply because one is possessed of worldly knowledge. The pity is that such a person is not particular about learning religious knowledge. An illiterate person, on the other hand, is conscious of his ignorance and therefore tries to acquire religious knowledge. Great indeed is the spiritual loss of a man who believes himself to be an alim, though he is steeped in sheer ignorance. Hatam Asam, may Allah mercy on him, was a renowned Sufi and a favorite pupil of Shakik Balkhi Rahmatullah alayh. Once the Shaykh asked him, Hatam, how long have you been here in company with me? He replied, 33 years. The Shaykh said, what did you learn during these 33 years of association with me? Hatam, may Allah mercy on him, replied, I have learned 8 lessons. At this, Shakik, may Allah mercy on him, out of sheer disappointment recited, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Indeed, we are Allah's, and lol, unto him we are returning. He said regretfully, you learned only 8 lessons during these long years of association with me. I have wasted all my life in associating with you. Hatam, may Allah mercy on him, submitted most respectfully, I have learned only 8 lessons, I cannot lie to you. The Shaykh said, tell me, what are those 8 lessons? Hatam, may Allah mercy on him, answered thus, 1. I have found that everybody loves someone or something, wife, children, property, friends, etc. But I know that as soon as he is laid in the grave, the loved ones part company with him. Consequently, I have cultivated love for good deeds so that when I die and pass into the grave, my loved one should also accompany me into the grave and I should not be left alone. Shakik, may Allah mercy on him, said, you have done well. 2. I have read in the Holy Quran that Allah Ta'ala says, وَأَمَّا مَنْ كَفَى مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. But as for him who fared in this world to stand before his Lord in the hereafter and restrain himself from unlawful indulgence in lust, lo, paradise will be his home. Surah An-Naziyat, verse 40 and 41. I know that whatever Allah Ta'ala says is true, therefore I have restrained myself from worldly desires and I have become steadfast in devotion to Him. 3. I know that in this world things which are dearest and most precious to men are preserved with great care and protected with diligence. Then I read in the Holy Quran that Allah Ta'ala says, Ma indakum infa'adu wa ma indallahi baq وَلَا نَزِّعَنَّ الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا أَجْرَهُمْ بِأَحْسَنِ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. That which you have in the world wasteth away, either you will die and leave it behind, or it will be wasted away in your life. It is all one to you. And that which Allah has remains eternally, and we will surely give those who were patient, reward them according to their best what they used to do. Surah An-Nahl, verse 96. According to the meaning of this verse, I send all my beloved things to the court of Allah so that those remain intact forever. 4. I have observed that for honor and glory all men turn to wealth, nobility of parentage and other things of pride. That is, they take pride in wealth, high parentage, etc. and assert their superiority over others. But I have read in the Holy Quran that Allah Ta'ala says, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Lo, the noblest of you in the sight of Allah is the best in pity. Al-Hujurat, verse 13. I therefore have cultivated pity in myself so that I should become the noblest of men in the sight of Allah Ta'ala. 5. I have noticed that people upbraid others, revile them, or find fault with them out of jealousy. Then I read in the Holy Quran that Allah Ta'ala says, Nahnu qasamna bainahum ma'ishatahum fil hayatid dunya wa rafa'na ba'dahum fawqa ba'dim darajatil liyattakhiza ba'duhum ba'dam sukriyam. We have apportioned among them their livelihood in the life of the world, and in this apportionment we have raised some of them above others in rank, so that some of them should take labor from others. Az-Zukhruf, verse 32. That is to say, if all men were alike and equal in rank, no one would work for others or serve anybody, and consequently there would be disorder and chaos in the affairs of the world. Therefore I have restrained myself from jealousy and ceased to concern myself with other people's affairs. I know for certain that the distribution of livelihood is entirely in the hands of Allah Ta'ala, and He grants as much as He pleases to whomsoever He likes. I therefore ceased to harbor enmity against anyone, realizing that a man's personal effort has little to do with his prosperity or adversity. It has rather been foreordained by Allah Ta'ala, who is the sovereign Lord of the worlds, so I do not feel angry with anyone. 6. I have observed that in this world everybody is hostile to someone or with the others. I have considered this in the light of what Allah Ta'ala says in the Holy Quran. Inna shaytana lakum adu'un fattakizuhu aduwan innama yad'u hizbahu liyakunu min ashabis sa'ir. Lo, Shaitan the devil is an enemy for you, so treat him as an enemy. Do not be friends with him. He only invites his party to be among companions of blaze. Surah At-Fatir, verse 6. So I have directed all my hostilities against Shaitan alone, and I always try to keep away from him by all possible means. And as Allah Ta'ala commanded us to treat him as an enemy, I bear no enmity against anyone other than Shaitan. 7. I have observed that all people are struggling hard to seek their livelihood, so much so that they disgrace or abase themselves before others, and adopt unlawful means for procuring their daily bread. But I have read in the Holy Quran that Allah Ta'ala says, وَمَا مِن دَابَّةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. And there is no living being that moves on earth but his sustenance depends on Allah Ta'ala. Surah Hud verse 6. Considering that I am also one of the creatures that move on earth whose sustenance depend upon Allah Ta'ala, I occupied myself with paying what I owe to Allah Ta'ala and ceased to worry about what Allah Ta'ala has taken the responsibility to provide. 8. I have observed that all men have faith upon and put their trust in things which have themselves been created by Allah Ta'ala. Some have faith in their estates or business concerns, others in their own skill or craftsmanship, and there are still others who trust their own physical power and energy. In short, all people have put their trust in things which have been created by Allah Ta'ala like themselves. I read in the Holy Quran that Allah Ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. And whosoever puts his trust in Allah, He will suffice him. Surah Talaq verse 3. Therefore I have put my trust and faith in Him alone. Shakik Rahmatullah alayhi thereupon said, Hatam, may Allah bless you with tawfiq, divine aid for performance for good deeds. I have viewed with churning the teachings of the Torah, the Injil, the Jabur and the Holy Quran, and I believe that these 8 moral lessons form a gist of all that is really good and beneficial for man. Therefore, anyone acting upon these precepts will be deemed to have practiced the learning content in all the 4 scriptures revealed by Allah Ta'ala. The fact is that such learning can only be attained by those ulama who are really concerned about the hereafter. These truths lie too deep for those so-called ulama who are ambitious for material wealth and who hanker after worldly honor and recognition.
To get new episodes, click subscribe button.